Hello everyone, FPL Raptor here and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Fix daily price change prediction video. In this series, we bring you the latest news with respect to potential price rises and potential price falls. If you're looking to build up that team value or you just don't want to be priced out of potential moves, look no further than this series and this YouTube channel. Just a friendly reminder that price changes are not an exact science, and especially at the weekends, which is when I do these videos, there's a lot of transfer activity happening and things can change very quickly. So do stay up to date with these changes yourself by heading over to fantasyfootballfix.com or by downloading our free app and enabling push notifications. But without further ado, let's get into today's video. So guys, as always in this first section, what we're going to do is we're going to look through the predicted price rises and price falls for this evening. And then after that, we'll deep dive into some statistics and discuss those players in a little bit more detail with the fixtures coming up, etc. So as always, what I've done is I've just created a watch list. So just a reminder for those of you that are new to this series, when you go onto the predicted price changes on the Fantasy Football Fix website, you'll have all of the players. But what you can do is you can just star the players that you're particularly interested in looking at. And that's what we do for these videos. So just create a watch list so that we're not just going through every single player in the game. So as you can see, of note, really, there are only 4 players predicted to change in price tonight at the time of recording. Now, I'm recording this around 5:30, just before the Liverpool game starts. So, obviously, if some things happen in that Liverpool game, it might change the transfer activity completely. So, before you make your moves this evening, if you're planning to, do check the price changes for yourselves. But the 4 players that are predicted to rise or fall in price tonight are Ben Rama, is predicted to rise in price tonight because he's rising at 3.7% per hour. Now remember, a player needs to be above 100% threshold for us to predict that they're going to rise in price. He's actually only at 67.3% at the time of recording, but because he's rising at quite a high rate, there's a potential that he rises in price tonight. Now my personal opinion on this is that because he blanked in today's game, I think that transfer activity will probably slow down. So yes, he is predicted to rise in price at the time of recording, but if that transfer activity slows down, he probably won't be. So I have a feeling we'll be discussing Ben Rama in tomorrow's video instead. Lukaku is actually already above 100% progress. Now, obviously, he didn't do anything today. He didn't get any returns, but he's already at 109%, and people are still bringing him in at 4.3% per hour. Now, the main reason for that is Chelsea's fixtures do swing from next week onwards. They've obviously got Southampton, then Brentford, and they've got 5 or 6 great fixtures in a row. So if you're looking to bring in Lukaku before he goes up to 11.7, you'd probably have to do that tonight. We are predicting him to rise in price tonight. The other 2 players are 2 Man City players, and they're going in different directions. We've got Ferran Torres is predicted to fall in price tonight. He's being sold at 5.3% per hour. And again, he's not at minus 100% per hour. So he's not at minus 100% total at the time of recording this. But due to the rate that he's falling in price, he is predicted to fall in price tonight. So do keep an eye on that one. And then Cancelo is the other one who, I said is going the other way. Cancelo is predicted to rise in price. He's now started all 6 games in this season, which is crazy for a Pep squad. For a player to be nailed in that Pep defense is absolutely brilliant. And he continues to return. He gets assists, he gets clean sheets, he gets bonus. He has that haul potential as well. So he actually hasn't risen in price yet, but it does look like tonight will be the night. He's at 88.9% at the time of recording, and he's rising at 3% per hour. So Ben Rama, Lukaku, and Cancelo predicted to rise in price tonight, and Torres is predicted to fall. But I do think myself that Ben Rama might survive tonight. The other players of note, obviously Luke Shaw got injured today, and he's started to be shipped out. I think Luke Shaw might have fallen in price anyway this week. I think people are keen to make that switch from Luke Shaw to a Chelsea defender, but it does look like because he's been shipped out because he obviously was injured in today's game, he might fall in price tonight. Alonso is going the other way. I think a lot of people will probably go from Luke Shaw to Alonso, and we're actually going to make the comparison in the next section between Alonso and Cancelo. Who should you be bringing in between Alonso and Cancelo? But Alonso's predicted to rise in price tomorrow at this rate. Saint Maximan, after another assist today, predicted to go up tomorrow again. Rudiger's predicted to go up tomorrow again because of the Chelsea fixture swing. We've got Luca Dean, who's predicted to go down in price tomorrow. And again, I think it's just people are fed up of Everton failing to keep clean sheets, although today they did. You've got Doucouré, who's predicted to go up in price tomorrow. The reason I've included him is because he did haul in today's game. So I think people will start to bring him in. And I think by the time tonight swings around, he's obviously so close to 100% already. I do have a feeling that Doucouré will rise in price tonight if the transfer activity does change. Townsend's another one that got a return in today's game. Again, these Everton players are really starting to perform very well. Gray, Doucouré, Townsend, they're so cheap, but Everton's cheap players do really perform very well. The only thing I would say is Everton have Manchester United next week, so next week might not be the time to bring them in. And then the final one is that man again, Ismail Assar, scored again. I think he got 10 points with bonus, so absolutely brilliant performance once again. He's already risen in price twice last week, but he's on his way to another price rise. And again, I know it says more than 2 days at the moment, but I think he might be brought in by quite a lot of managers tonight after another goal once again. So Saar might be another one that we want to jump on before he ends up going like Ben Rama and rising to 6.5 million. But anyway, I hope that's really helpful for you guys. These are the players that I've noted. But of course, if you've got your own players, again, if you just go to the My Squad section at the top, you can see the players in your own team that predicted to change in price, and you can make your own watch list as well. So I can see straight away the only player predicted to rise or fall in price tonight for my team is Ben Rama, which is fine. Shaw's probably the closest to a price fall, so I do need to keep an eye on him. But this is the way for yourselves. You can keep up to date with price changes. Let's now take a deep dive into looking at Alonso versus Cancelo for next week. So guys, as you know, I absolutely love my touch maps. I think they're a really nice balance or combination between eye test and underlying statistics. So wherever possible, I do like to use them. And as you know, with Fantasy Football Fix, there's not just touch map, there's various ones, heat maps, shot maps, attempted assist maps. You've got a bit of everything. So the two players that I wanted to compare in this one are João Cancelo and Marcos Alonso, who hilariously, a lot of us avoided at the start of the season because we thought there'd be such massive rotation risks, because they have been in the past, especially Marcos Alonso. If we just take a look at how many minutes they've both played, 540, Cancelo's played every minute so far, and Alonso's played basically every minute, 536 minutes. They've both started all 6 games, and they've both looked so good as well. 44 points for Cancelo, 39 for Marcos Alonso. If you started the season with either of them and you just went for it despite the rotation risk, props to you. That's an absolutely brilliant decision. But I think on a lot of our Game Week 7, Game Week 8 wildcards, or potentially even with our free transfers, we're going to be looking to bring in either one or both of these players. So if we just look at a comparison between the two, obviously the most notable thing with Cancelo is that he plays right back and left back. He's played a lot more at left back this season because obviously they've got Kyle Walker and they haven't had Zinchenko. So you can see there's definitely a lot more on the left for Cancelo, but he's played on both sides. And the other thing to note is that Cancelo obviously plays in a fullback, and he plays as like an inverted fullback. So he comes into midfield and often plays as like a number 8 sometimes when the likes of Gundogan and Grealish, etc., bomb forward. So the heat maps are actually very different, but they're both very, very nice. Alonso's is a lot wider because he plays in that 5-back formation, but really, really nice. The one thing I would note on Alonso's, which Cancelo's doesn't have, is Alonso has been taking a lot of corners. Now, I do think, having spoken to some Chelsea fans, they think that Mason Mount is probably first choice still for corners. And Reece James, obviously, who's now suffered from his injury, Reece James often is first choice as well. But Reece James's injury is apparently, early diagnosis is 4 to 6 weeks. And obviously Mason Mount has been struggling a little bit as well. So if Marcos Alonso stays on corners, that's just another string to his bow. But I would say straight away that the touch maps look very, very strong for both. If we have a look at their shot maps for both of them, again, really, really good for fullbacks, but Marcos Alonso's are unbelievable, really. Lots of shots in the box. I think that's 5 or 6 shots in the box there. You can see Cancelo takes a lot of shots from sort of outside the box towards the left, but still, for both fullbacks to be shooting as much as they are is very, very pleasing. Passes-wise, Cancelo just makes a ridiculous number of passes, over double the amount that Alonso makes, and that is just because, as I said, he drifts into that number 8 role, and he almost plays as a midfielder at times for Manchester City. The other thing is attempted assists. Alonso does beat him quite a lot, and a lot of those are from corners. Again, you can see from the corner flag some of those attempted assists. So what I would say is both are looking really good, but if I'm being honest, I do think that Alonso looks the better of the two. Interestingly, they've both got roughly the same like advanced position as a left back, but you can see Cancelo's is a little bit more central, and that's again probably a number of reasons. Number one, because he's playing on the right as well as the left, and also he does often drift into that number 8 role. So I would say pretty even. I would say that Alonso's just about edges it. He appears to be getting into the box a little bit more, and he also appears to be in set pieces, which is obviously 2 major advantages for Marcos Alonso. The other thing I just wanted to look at, if you keep scrolling down, you can look at their statistics per 90. Obviously, they've played pretty much every minute anyway, but you can see their statistics per 90. And again, Alonso is coming out on top versus Cancelo. Goals-wise, obviously, Cancelo hasn't scored yet. Marcos Alonso, 0.17 per 90. Expected goals, Cancelo's just on top, but they're very, very similar at 0.13 and 0.12, which is pretty good for a fullback. Again, we're expecting fullbacks to be more creative than they are a goal threat. Shots, Alonso's taking slightly more shots on target. 3 times the amount of shots in the box, which again is a big thing. If you want your fullbacks, or you want your defenders to be taking shots in the box, because yes, they can score from outside the box, but it's a lot more likely to go in if it's inside the box. Assists, they are equal, so they're both providing the same amount of assists. Expected assist, again, Alonso is just on top, but very, very close to Cancelo. This is the big one. As we saw with those attempted assist maps, Alonso's taken a lot more attempted assists, so he's and again, a lot of those are from corners. Big chances created. Interestingly, Alonso hasn't created any big chances yet. Cancelo at 0.17 per 90, and crosses. Again, Alonso's crossing slightly more, but that is probably because of set pieces. At the end of the day, I think if I was wildcarding now, I'd have both of them. And I think if you are wildcarding 7 and 8, there is such reason to have both. They both look fairly nailed. And even if they aren't, I think it might be worth the risk of going with Alonso and Cancelo over Diaz and Rudiger, because they've just got such high upside. They're likely to get more attacking returns, therefore more likely to get bonus. And they're more likely to get those monster hauls of 15, 20 points. So if I was wildcarding this week, and if you are wildcarding Game Week 7, I'd activate my wildcard now and I'd bring in Cancelo and Alonso, because both look like they're likely to rise soon. Cancelo tonight, probably Alonso tomorrow. And they've both got such great attacking threat. Let's just quickly take a look at the fixtures, which might help you decide between the two as well. So as I said, just wanted to really quickly look at the fixtures, because if you're not on wildcard, it might be deciding, do you want to bring in Cancelo or do you want to bring in Alonso or Rudiger? Are you choosing Man City defenders or Chelsea? And I think the key thing that would make me lean towards Chelsea is just because, number one, Chelsea's fixtures are better over the next few anyway. But Manchester City's next fixture against Liverpool away obviously isn't the sort of fixture you really want to bring them in for. But we saw today they can keep clean sheets against anyone. And I certainly wouldn't write off Man City keeping a clean sheet against Liverpool. But I just think if you're going to prioritise your transfers, which you should do, I think I would prioritise a Chelsea defender against Southampton at home over a Man City defender against Liverpool away. Now, what I would say is over the next few, obviously, Chelsea's fixtures are consistently very good. They've got Brentford, Norwich, Newcastle, Burnley, Leicester, as well as Southampton at home. So I think you can bring in a Chelsea defender and just keep them in your team regardless. City's fixtures are actually nicer than I think a lot of people are giving them credit for. You can see Liverpool away is not great, but Burnley, Brighton, Palace, United, and Everton, I think all 5 are possible clean sheets. Obviously, United is the most difficult fixture, as you can see by the colour. But again, Man City just defends so well. The defensive data has been right up there alongside Chelsea. And I just think they've actually been a lot better than Chelsea, Man City's data. They have the best underlying defensive data in the league. So I think there's definitely reason to just go for Cancelo this week, potentially, and beat the price rise. Absolutely. As I said, on a wild card, I'd definitely be having probably 2 Chelsea defenders and potentially even 2 Man City defenders. If you had a back 4 of Rudiger, Alonso, Cancelo, and Diaz, you'd be set for the next 5, 10, 15 game weeks, and you'd know you'd get a lot of clean sheets there. What I would say is you need to make sure you've got a strong bench. If you're bringing in Cancelo and Alonso and you've got like non-playing £4 million defenders on your bench, you might start to encounter some issues. If we actually sort the list by defensive difficulty, which you can do on the Fantasy Football Fix website, Chelsea are first. We'll just refresh the page. Chelsea are first for defensive difficulty. Man City, you have to scroll down quite a bit. So you can see they're around mid-table. So the Fantasy Football Fix algorithm doesn't actually think that the fixtures are that great from a defensive point of view for Man City coming up. But as I said, I think there are some good fixtures in there, and you have to realise that Man City can keep clean sheets against absolutely anyone. But if you're trusting the fixtures and if you're trusting the Fantasy Football Fix algorithm, it does look like Chelsea defenders should be the priority. But if I'm being honest, I'd quite like both Cancelo and Alonso. So guys, there you have it. Those are the predicted price rises and price falls for this evening. Just another reminder that these are not an exact science. They are indeed a prediction. So do take them with a pinch of salt, of course, and always check for the latest news yourselves by heading over to fantasyfootballfix.com or by downloading our free app and enabling push notifications. If you are enjoying the content on this channel, we bring you daily videos. Please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help to support the channel grow, and it shows us that you appreciate the daily content we're bringing. Until next time, guys, which will be tomorrow evening, thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.